Hello, this is H1. We're going to be running it back with another episode talking about chess knowledge, chess wisdom, chess understanding again. And today we'll be discussing the 10 fastest ways to checkmate your opponent in chess. Let's get started. We got some fun checkmates. The very first checkmate sequence that we're going to be going over is fool's mate. You cannot start a 10 fastest checkmate chess series without going over fool's mate. And it starts with this move F3, E5, G4, and then the only move that delivers checkmate for the black pieces, queen to H4, which is checkmate in 2 moves. Crazy enough, this actually kind of happens all the time against beginners. You shouldn't be pushing up the F pawn or the G pawn, but if you're the black pieces, then you're celebrating. You're happy about getting this checkmate. You should be celebrating all day, every single time you get fool's mate. In your face. They're the fool, you're the best. Okay, the second checkmate that we're going to be going over is the reversed fool's mate, which starts with E4, F6, D4, G5, queen to H5, which is checkmate along this diagonal. There is no way for this king to get out of this check or block. They can't do anything. And so this can happen on both sides. Remember, pushing up the F pawn and the G pawn is always bad when you're starting out a chess game. Don't do this, or you're gonna get checkmated like this unless you want to. All right, there's another way you can fall for checkmate within a real opening. So let's say white plays G4, which is the Grob opening, and black can still play E5. If white plays F4 here, expecting that there's not any danger along this diagonal, yeah, you can fall for checkmate again. Maybe this is cheating at this, but it's a little bit different because white didn't start off with F3, and most people actually do the Grob in every single game, which I wouldn't practice this. This is bad chess, but if you want to have fun in chess, do what you want to do. The fourth checkmate that we're going to be discussing is scholar's mate. We cannot go over the fastest checkmates without going over the 4-move checkmate, which begins E4, E5, bishop to C4, putting pressure on this pawn on F7, knight to C6, queen to F3. Now both of these pieces are putting pressure on this pawn. They should be defended with the move like knight to F6, but they decide not to, and they do this move H6 for some reason. And yeah, we can get this scholar's mate, checkmate, in 4 moves. Let's go to the next one. This checkmate that I'm about to show you, it is pretty odd, but it does happen if you don't know the rules of a tournament. Now, white plays E4, D5, E takes on D5, queen takes on D5, king E2, queen E4. And you're probably thinking, why would white ever put themselves in this type of checkmate? Why would they ever do king E2? And I heard stories about this line when I was going to tournaments. There is this rumor going around that white touched the king, and usually in chess, in a tournament, whatever piece that you touch, you have to move. And he was adjusting, but didn't say adjust, and black forced him to move the king to E2, and yeah, black got this checkmate with queen to E4. I would be mad, I would catch a fade, but that's me. I'm not telling you to be violent at tournaments. All I'm saying is I'm gonna be very angry that night. The 5th fastest checkmate that we're going to be discussing is against the Dutch defense. So we play D4, they play F5, that initiates the Dutch defense. Bishop to G5, H6, attacking the bishop. Bishop moves back. They do G5 because they're ultra aggressive. And if we do Bishop G3, they do F4, trapping our bishop. What are we going to do in this position? Well, we have this secret tactic, this trap here, E4. G takes on H4. Dang, get the bishop out of there. Queen H5, checkmate along this diagonal. Again, fool's mate diagonal. Always keep this in mind if you're pushing the F and G pawn. It can happen within 5 moves, 2 moves, whenever. Always watch out for this diagonal, especially if you're one of those people that's crazy enough to play the Dutch defense. I know most of these checkmates look the same, but the fastest checkmates always happens along that diagonal there, except for that one game that I showed you. We got this checkmate that happens with the bird opening. Black does E5, F takes on E5, D6, E takes on D6, bishop takes on D6, and if white does this very, very bad move here, knight to C3, queen to h4, checking the king along this diagonal again. Now, the only difference is white can defend. What does black do now? Do they just put the queen back? No, they do not. We Botez gambited. Queen takes on g3, h takes on g3, bishop takes on g3, and yeah, that is checkmate. Of course, we could have sacrificed the bishop instead of the queen, but sacrificing the queen is always the cooler piece to sacrifice. I'm sorry, and I kind of misquoted because that isn't even the Botez gambit, because this move has a purpose. To checkmate. The Botez gambit has no purpose of why you should be just giving away your queen for no reason. Nobody should be playing that. Okay, the next one, we got a smothered mate tactic that ends the game in 6 moves. Let's get into it right quick. E4, C6, D4, D5, knight to C3, D takes on E4, knight takes on E4, knight to D7, weird move, but I digress. We're gonna do queen to E2, threatening a simple checkmate. If they do not see it and do the move knight to f6 to continue on developing, because that's, you know, that's what we should be doing, developing our pieces, getting the king to safety, etc. We checkmate the opponent with knight to d6, and yeah, that's an ugly way to go out. This could be number 9. I don't know. I'm just going to give you 2 more to run with. This is a checkmate that happens against the Owens defense. E4, B6, that initiates the Owens defense. D4, bishop to B7, attacking this pawn, bishop to D3, F5, and instead of protecting the pawn one more time, we're going to do E takes on F5, bishop takes on G2. They think they're cool because they're going to get our rook on H1, but we don't care about the H1 rook. I do, because I have to, chess knowledge with H1, but we have this move, queen to H5, checking the king, same diagonal. I get it, it all looks the same, but watch this. G6, F takes on G6, knight to F6, their best defense because now they're attacking the queen. Do we move the queen? No, we do not move the queen because we have this move, G takes on H7, knight takes on H5, and checkmate again along this diagonal with our favorite bishop. Yes, all these checkmates are pretty good. The fastest ones that you could do. All right, the 10th one that I want to go over is the Italian game trap. E4, E5, knight to F3, attacking this pawn, knight to C6, bishop to C4, and then we have this crazy move, knight to D4 by the opponent. But if white captures this pawn on E5, we're kind of already falling for black's trap, especially once they do the move queen to G5. And if we think that we're just gonna fork their pieces out of nowhere, and I have a stick too, why am I pointing at pieces? Knight attacking this rook on H8, knight is attacking the queen on G5. We do not care because we can capture this pawn on G2 and attack the rook. Rook has to move the safety to F1. Now we got this extra move right here, queen takes on E4. If they do queen E2, then we're gonna capture their queen. If they do this move bishop to E2, where's the checkmate? Pause the video if you wanna find it. Yes, we have this checkmate, knight to F3. Horrible, like it's just nasty. It's too nasty. I don't even know what to say. If I was the white pieces, I wouldn't even set up the pieces. I'll leave. All right, bonus mate that can happen in the Budapest gambit with the black pieces. D4, knight to F6, C4, E5, sacrificing that pawn, D takes on E5, knight to G4, attacking this pawn, and white has to protect it. So they do knight to F3, knight to C6, attacking the pawn one more time, bishop to F4. It might look a little bit weird, just bear with me right quick. After bishop to F4, bishop to B4, checking the king along this diagonal, knight defends, and then we have this move queen to E7. After queen to E7, A3, knight takes on E5, not caring about that bishop. But if they fall for our trap, A takes on B4, knight to D3 is checkmate because this queen is pinning the pawn on E2. This would be an illegal move, and this knight is attacking the king because knights move in a capital L shape. All right, that's all that I have for this video. Thank you for bearing with me with all these exciting checkmates. Like, subscribe, keep on fighting till the end, staying focused in chess and in real life too. Peace.